What's happening, guys? Hey, it is Rob with Commotion Diecast. It's here. The secret is released, man. This is the Grindelwald Circuit. This has been my existence for the last few months, and I want to share it with you guys. Let's go. So how in the world did we get here? What is the inspiration behind this? Well, I used to travel for a living, and I was very grateful to have visited Switzerland on a couple of occasions. And I actually got to go through Grindelwald, and it took my breath. It was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my entire life. So when it came time for Commotion to kind of grow and to create something that is to the next level, I thought, what better opportunity to try to recreate something that took my breath and actually race some cars on it. So this is what you see. This is Grindelwald Circuit. Now, as far as the build goes, this thing happened in a pretty quick time frame. I was going to give it another 6 months, but when I start something, I'm just ready to roll and I'm ready to make it happen. So we're about 99% done right now. So let's start with the bones. The bones of the track is basically 2x4s and 1x6s. Now the 1x6s I used for the track bed, that's what the track sits on. And for the first 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even more, we were tuning the pitch. Because if you've got an awesome looking track, but it doesn't race for shit, nobody wants to watch that, or at least I don't. I don't want to watch the cars spinning. I want the cars to be competitive and be awesome and, you know, just be entertaining. So the first couple of weeks we tuned, we made it what it is, and then we built around it. So on top of those bones, we used foam board. It's kind of like a press board that you see for insulation. That's what the actual rigidity comes from the track itself. You see the kind of the structure of the track. That is foam board. You can get it at Lowe's, Home Depot, stuff like that. Now on top of that, you see the mountains in different materials. Where the mountains themselves, some of them were cut out of the foam board, and using a foam board cutting tool, we kind of sculpted some of the mountains that you see up at the top. And then some of the ones at the bottom are actually done with Great Stuff. Great Stuff is awesome because it expands. Downside is it costs a lot and it stinks. So while I was doing this, it was just in a fume. I was in a daze the whole time. But anyway, it was probably a good thing that I didn't realize how much time I was spending down here. How you cut through this is just the exact same. It just takes a little bit longer. Now on top of that, in order for the paint to actually stick, you got to put a little bit of plaster on it. So we plastered it up, 2 to 3 coats of different colors of paint, and then you create that depth, right? So we talked about the rocks and the mountains and all this stuff. Now to what you see, this big splat of green that's all over the place. How did we create such a bright green? That is actually preserved reindeer moss. Now you can get that from like Hobby Lobby, or I think Michael's has it. They're different shades, but if you want it to really stand out, you got to get the bright preserved reindeer moss, and it's awesome. 2 downsides: it's messy, you got to pull it apart, and it's very expensive. Here's a little fact. It's going to pop up on your screen. We actually probably went through 60 to 70 packs of this, and to the grand total of about $600 in moss. It is what it is. You know, you want it to look awesome, that's the price you pay. Now to put that moss down, we used hot glue, because I figured out really quick that the spray foam just wasn't worth it. It was creating gaps and all that stuff. Now that being said, about how many hot glue sticks do you think are in this thing? If you were guessing, man, what would you guess? 100, 150 maybe? There's like 350 glue sticks in here. And that, again, took a lot of time, but it was so worth it. I wanted to make sure every single piece was put in by hand. Every single thing had that attention to detail so that I could bring you guys the most realistic that I could possibly do track to race on. And we have an absolute blast. We've been testing and tuning on this thing, and when you start putting everything together, it just makes it feel, you kind of separate from life and go into this diecast world, and it's just so much fun. So we also have some kinetic sand, some regular sand. We've also got the turf, the typical turf you see that people use for train tracks and stuff like that. That you can find at Hobby Lobby typically, or any train store. Now, as far as the timer goes and how we start the cars, we have worked with JLH Crafts ever since the mountain and then in the valley. He's got a very new track system, a timer system that came out that goes, I think, to the 10,000th of a second. We weren't able to get that in time, so what we ended up doing is we ended up using the same timer system that we used on Death Valley. It is a killer plunger system that I created, and I paired it with his actual timer that has a laser and a timer at the bottom. We just separated them, and that's what you'll see down at the bottom of the track down there. Awesome stuff. It's reliable, typically works flawlessly as long as you got the 9 volts going. All this wouldn't be possible without the people, Team Commotion. James helps out a lot. He comes over and he's actually behind the camera right now filming me. And I just want to say thank you to some of our sponsors as well. Meekin, dude, metal signs by Meekin, merch by Meekin, came in so clutch on this track. Blew me away in the timeline that he was able to take my vision. We were able to put it together, and next thing I know, I'm putting these tracks or these signs on the track. It blew my mind. Top-notch person, top-notch materials, and the turnaround was awesome. Make sure you use him if you need anything. Knock and Hook Outfitters is on for 3 episodes. We're going to do him for the Racing Champions Cup Series. Again, killer dude. Great supportive guy. He is on for those 3 episodes. He's a local outfitter here in Virginia. And also, we are so blessed to have one of the biggest Hot Wheels stores on the entire East Coast. Ralph, Jonathan, thank you guys so much. We're going to get their banners and stuff up, and you'll be seeing them as a title sponsor for 2022. We're just blessed, guys. The community has embraced us. We have embraced you guys. We absolutely love you, and we cannot wait to bring you everything that is the Grindelwald Circuit. We love you. I hope you have enjoyed this. God bless you guys.